Hello fellow football connoisseurs and welcome back to the quick take. I would like to say there has been lots and lots of news today, but there actually hasn't. And so in this video it's going to be a little bit different. I've just got done watching Bayer Leverkusen destroy Bayern Munich 3-0 in the Bundesliga, keeping them top of the table and undefeated in all competitions this season. And it really got me thinking as to what I think is best for Chelsea going forward and whether Chelsea really should enter the manager market come the summer. Before I continue, I would like to quickly remind you I am running a giveaway with OwnASaber.com, where at 15,000 subscribers you could be in with a chance at winning the King of London lightsaber, the perfect saber for every Chelsea fan. 3 participants will be chosen and all you have to do to enter is subscribe to the channel and check the pinned comment down below for more information. And with that, on with the video. Now, as I mentioned, I did just get done watching Bayer Leverkusen take on Bayern Munich in a very interesting game. Bayer Leverkusen came into this game to win. They set up out of possession because they had a lot less possession than Bayern Munich going into this game. Of course, Thomas Tuchel known for dominating teams in possession, but they had less possession, and so they set up in a 5-3-2 shape. Very compact, but completely nullified Harry Kane and Jamal Musiala, 2 very bright sparks in the Bayern Munich attack, completely nullified them. And it also allowed them to transform quickly when they did regain possession into a very attacking 3-4-3. Of course, one of the midfielders coming up to play as a 10 behind the striker with overlapping fullbacks. Another thing I noticed from this game is, and I've said this before, with Xabi Alonso's football, you can screenshot the game at any point and you can see a clear formation, you can see a clear system being played there. Each player has been very, very well drilled into their position, what is required from them, and what they need to do. And then when you stop the still and you allow the game to play on, you are mesmerized by the way the players are able to find space for themselves, the passing. It's just fantastic. It's very one touch, very fluid. You know, players pass the ball, then they fade away to give themselves space, and they play the ball back, and then they recycle it slightly, but not to the point where it's just passed around the back, but they recycle it with a purpose, I would like to say, and with fierceness with them to move the ball quickly and really catch Bayern Munich's defense kind of out of position by the way that they're able to move the ball across the field as quickly as they are. And it really got me thinking as to why we haven't seen this at Chelsea. Yes, it's a very unbalanced side, a fact that Mauricio Pochettino actually brought up recently, and I do agree with him. He has been, I kind of want to say he has been set up to fail, but at the same time he knew what he was getting into when he joined this quote-unquote project, and I think he could have done a little bit more in the summer in terms of and the winter in terms of advocating for more experience to be brought in key areas that we need, whether that be the midfield or whether that be the defense, and especially in the attack. An experienced striker, Callum Wilson, was linked, but we didn't go for it. But as I said, we are unbalanced and we do have a very, very young side, average young side, especially when the likes of Raheem Sterling and the likes of Thiago Silva aren't starting. Then it goes down to 22, 23 average age. So not a lot of experience there, and it's hard to find consistency with inexperience. But I think that there were ways for him to minimize these negative impacts on the side by setting up in a different way. We have been playing a 4 at the back, which has moved into a 3 at the back in game, but we have been starting with a 4-2-3-1. You can't change that. We've been starting with a 4-2-3-1 in basically every single game this season, where managers like Xabi Alonso and managers like Ruben Amorim, they sit up in 3-4-3s. They play slightly differently. What I would like to highlight here is what I would just like to say is the midfield pivot, especially in Xabi Alonso's. They stay very close together, which allows them to make plays alongside each other. So one player drops slightly deeper, dragging a player out of position, while the other person moves into the space created by that player offensive player being dragged out of position by their pivot partner. And then they're able to either spread it out wide or play it forward to someone like Florian Wirtz or Hoffman, or before he was injured, Boniface, or now Patrick Schick, or even Adley, who came in today. They set traps in the midfield, and because they're so close together, their strengths are heightened. This is what we saw against Aston Villa, Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez playing so close together. But we haven't seen that much this season at all. I mean, that was in a 4-4-2, but we haven't seen that much this season at all. I really think that Poch really should have done more in terms of finding what worked for the team instead of what worked for him. And that would have been going for a 3 at the back, which can move into a 5 at the back in game, which can shut off the opponent's attacks and hold on to results, because this is a results-based business. And in order to build consistency, in order to build momentum in the season, and really get the players feeling that, you know, we actually have a chance to get in Champions League football and bring in good morality and getting the fans on the side, results do that. And that is what we have failed to do with the way that we are set up in games. And I really do think this team is set for a manager like Ruben Amorim or a manager like Xabi Alonso to walk in and have an absolute blast. You know, we've got a ball-playing centre-back in someone like Levi Colwill, and he obviously drill players to be more comfortable on the ball in the back line, to play balls out to the pivot or play balls out wide to the wing-backs. We have players who can advance on the wing-backs. We obviously did have Ian Maatsen. He's now out on loan, and he has a release clause, but we've got like players like Reece James and Ben Chilwell, even Marc Cucurella, who can get forward, overlapping runs, sometimes inverting runs, maybe, if you want to talk about Ben Chilwell with an inverting run, or Cucurella with an inverting run. But that's whether their future at Chelsea is at Chelsea, whether we don't sell them in the summer. Obviously, Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo in the pivot, I think that they work perfectly under both managers. I did mention that they use the midfield pivot differently. I would say that at Sporting, the midfield pivot is slightly more staggered, and the back three, when building out, is very much further back, basically in line with the goalkeeper, inviting pressure from the opponent, a bit like Robert De Zerbi's Brighton. And this then creates space in the midfield sectors, in the second quarter and the third quarter of the field, to then play the ball into and then get an attacking move started with the likes of Pedro Goncalves and obviously Victor Gyökeres and those players like that, Edwards. And then in the attack, both managers, they really like to implement 10s behind their number 9. I really think we're going to get Victor Osimhen this summer. If not, we will get a Gyökeres, and if not, we will get a Boniface or Benjamin Šeško. We will get a number 9 this summer, no doubt. But again, he likes to play, Xabi Alonso, he likes to play 10s behind his striker. And that could be Cole Palmer. I think Cole Palmer is up there with Florian Wirtz, if not, is slightly ahead of Florian Wirtz in terms of his creativity. And I think he'd work that role wonderfully. And then Christopher Nkunku playing as a number 10, inheriting a similar role to Cole Palmer, maybe a little bit more attack-minded instead of creative-minded than someone like Florian Wirtz or Hoffman. But I think he could be fantastic in that role. And so that leaves an 11 of this: Petrovic in net, Colwill, and then a new centre-back. I think Thiago Silva is leaving. And then if we want to continue with Wesley Fofana's in there. Chilwell and James, although I'm not too sure about Chilwell. Ian Maatsen's obviously going to be sold. He's performing fantastically in the Bundesliga, and he does have a release clause. Cucurella's future is uncertain, so I'd imagine Chilwell stays. I think he'd be the hardest one to move on. Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo in the midfield pivot, and then Nkunku, Palmer, and Osimhen in the attack. I think the likes of Noni Madueke would get chances. Of course, they come on maybe 20 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go, as an attacking threat to unlock defenses. Maybe if we're struggling against defenses, his one-on-one ability could be appreciated. And then Mudryk, but Mudryk really, in my opinion, I think he needs a loan. He's just not getting the amount of game time he needs in order to find consistency, in order to find who he is as a footballer, and be comfortable in the league, whether that entails a loan to the Italian league, whether that entails a loan to the Bundesliga. I think there was rumours Bayern Munich were interested in him. What a fantastic loan that would have been, by the way. But I really think he does need time in order to find who he is, and I think he's a pure winger compared to a number 10 like Christopher Nkunku or Cole Palmer, and that may hurt him in the side of Xabi Alonso or a side of Ruben Amorim, but we'll see how he is going forward. I do have high hopes for him, and I would like to see him feature in this side a lot more, but he's not starting under Mauricio Pochettino right now, especially with Nicholas Jackson playing so well off the left, so I think he needs a low move there. But if we had set up in this 3-4-3 shape, like going into the season, I really think that we would be higher in the table. I think it provides far more stability in a side that is prone to making mistakes. It would nullify a lot of the mistakes we make anyway. Now, obviously, Xabi Alonso will have a lot of suitors come the summer transfer window. Obviously, Bayern Munich and Liverpool will be after him, with Jurgen Klopp leaving at the end of the season and Thomas Tuchel not having his best time at Bayern Munich. Whether I think Liverpool are perfectly set up for Xabi Alonso, I actually don't know. I think Chelsea are actually a more ideal fit for Xabi Alonso, surprisingly. But I can see him going to Liverpool. He does currently make €6 million a year at Bayer Leverkusen, and Chelsea are no strangers to spending heavily on players, and I see no reason as to why they wouldn't be so stingent when it comes to paying Xabi Alonso a competitive wage. And if we want to get him there, I'd say it would probably be like 10, maybe €12 million a year. which I think would be a fair price and would help us win a race for him if we were going up against like as I said, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, even Barcelona. But if not, Ruben Amorim is available. He does have a release clause, which is apparently in the region of around 10 million euros. So I think it'd be cheaper to get Ruben Amorim, but if you want to get the next big thing and someone who I think is perfectly set up to work with this squad and who will demand excellence and will drill these players into majestic football, I think Xabi Alonso is the man going forward. Whether or not it will happen, I can't predict the future. I would love it to happen, but I can't predict the future. I just think that Xabi Alonso is perfectly set up for this team. And that about wraps up today's strange video. Again, there was no news today, and I was struggling to find a topic, and I want to keep uploading every single day. I am still working on the Osimhen video, and I was going to do a video on the Girona manager, although they just, got absolutely destroyed 4-0, I think, by Real Madrid today, so I might put that one off. But thank you all so much for watching these recent videos. It really means the world to me. If you like the video, like, comment, and subscribe. I've been the Quick Check, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you later.